You've made it famous.
Save the biff. Yes, I've made it famous.
And
But it's so funny because I made it famous and everybody jumps into the whole probiotics, but that was not my intent to guide you to the probiotics world. My intent was to say, hey, there are nutrients that we give to increase the bifidobacteria, like vitamin C increases bifidobacteria, vitamin D increases bifidobacteria, bovine immunoglobulins, the blood from the cow that's spun around, that clear stuff, increases bifidobacteria. That's what we showed, right? And there's other things, certain herbs increase the bifidobacteria. The idea of probiotics really started from bifidobacteria that was shown in newborns, that was shown to decrease with in old people, right? But what we noticed with the probiotics is, first of all, majority of probiotics out there say they have bifidobacteria, but don't even have bifidobacteria.
if they do, it's not making it all the way to the large intestine, which is what we learned from you in our last episode.
Yeah, the second problem is it gets broken down by the stomach acids, or even bigger problem, it gets broken down in the small bowel, which now causes SIBO. And now you've got patients complaining of gas, and I have that in my patients because, if my train of thought and my hypothesis in fixing bifidobacteria is really to see, do they have bifidobacteria to begin with? If they have some bifidobacteria, then I work on increasing that with vitamin C, vitamin D, bovine. If they don't have bifidobacteria, then I will give a probiotic. But here's the problem. The probiotic, you have to make sure the probiotic is quality. You have to make sure it goes to the colon. And when you do too much, or when you add too much, you end up swapping that problem they came to see you with, which, for example, could be diarrhea, for now gas, bloating, and SIBO. And that's not a good thing, because I have that scenario of patients where I've done an implant and then they go get some probiotics, quality probiotics, but then they call me and they say, wow, that probiotic just threw me off completely of what you've done, because now I'm bloated, I'm gassy, and that starts a different problem, right?
So you really have to test it, is what you're saying. You have to know where you are.
You have to know where you are at baseline. And you can't, unfortunately, use the labs that are out there because they're not validated. So you have to, unfortunately, we use our lab because we validated it, because we've shown the data on fecal transplant, what a validation looks like, what stool transplant looks like. What are we doing when we change the microbiome and improve a disease like Crohn's or improve Alzheimer's? Even if in an N of 1, at the end of the day, it's still an N of 1 that demonstrates the microbiome, right? So you have to have a validated assay that kind of tells you this is what your level of bifidobacteria is. And then from there, you have to start treating and using the probiotic, but then being careful onto seeing whether the probiotic is increasing or decreasing. When you see a patient that had a 4% bifidobacteria, and then you give it probiotic, you give the patient probiotics, and you realize the 5% goes down to 0, we have a problem. I mean, that's the same thing as, taking antibiotics, right? Because now you're taking a product that was supposed to double your probiotic, but instead it drops it. That's a problem.